Nigeria Central Bank has asked lenders to adopt a common standard to share authorized customer data with third-party firms, including financial technology and e-commerce companies, as part of efforts to expand digital payments usage and boost lending. The new rules on open banking guidelines will, according to the CBN, ensure efficiency, competition, and access to financial services. Joining us to discuss further is Uzoma Dozie, who is the CEO of Sparkle, also playing in the fintech space. Uzoma, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. So how do you see...
Hi, Richard.
Hey, welcome. How do you see Nigeria's transition into open banking playing out?
I think it's very exciting. It's something that the open banking organization has been working on for, I think, almost 4 years now. And the fact that, the Central Bank of Nigeria is the first in Africa to actually, come out with common standards is actually a great feat for us, and it's a great opportunity. I think the benefit here is going to be to the customer, because basically what open banking is unlocking information that has been siloed in different platforms, either traditional banks, even in people who are providing services to customers. And now it's about the customer saying, you have my permission to access my data and make an informed decision on whether to give me a loan, or whether to open an account for me, or whether to provide the service for me. So it is. I think it's an initiative, if executed well, will really unlock economic potentials, especially in the consumer space and the small business space in Nigeria.
Okay, so of course, permission needs to be granted from the customer side. But from your vantage point, are there any security concerns or privacy concerns raised by open banking?
Okay, so in fact, I think what open banking does, right, it brings the importance of security and also privacy to the limelight. Now, from a security standpoint, for you to participate, you must conform to common standards, and those common standards also include a minimum level of security, a minimum level of certification that would ensure that the transfer of data from one point to another point is secure, and also there is minimum violation or abuse of customer information. So open banking, what it does, it just brings transparency into that whole space. And once you have transparency, that actually increases trust and also puts more pressure, right, on organizations to ensure that their security and their privacy governance is tighter.
All right, so we're getting almost everyone in the tech space to weigh in on this testimony we saw on Capitol Hill in the United States, the Tik Tok CEO, Mr. Chu. Again, I'm still asking you now about security and so on. Social media, yes. Security, well, what do you make of what you've seen so far with this whole TikTok issue? Or is it just a proxy struggle is TikTok just falling in the middle of what's happening between the US and China?
Well, I think it's a complex situation, but I think a lot of precedent is being set, and it's also a warning for organizations that are handling customers' information. Is that if you do not, if you're not clear, and if you do not use that information or data responsibly, the regulators are going to come after you. And so, whatever the reason or rationale behind behind what TikTok is facing, I do not know. But you can now use the abuse of customer data to actually, do what you want. So I think it's a warning signal for organizations who have been entrusted with customers' data that, you can use it to make money, you can use it to grow your business, but if you disabuse it, and it can be used to bring your company down or bring your company into disrepute. And this is what we're seeing here. So it's not, I don't think I think this is a global phenomenon that's going to continue. So it's not just going to be a USA, China. It could be, you can say the same thing about Facebook in African countries. You can say the same thing as WhatsApp as well. So this is not going to go away.
All right. Now, I also want to pick your brain on cryptocurrencies. We've heard, of course, Do Kwon, founder of Terraform Labs and the collapsed stablecoin Terra, being accused of running a $40 billion fraud scheme. And now apparently he's been, apprehended in Montenegro. Well, what's your view on cryptos as far as Well, of course, here in Nigeria, the central bank does not allow
Yeah.
financial institutions to, allow transactions to happen with cryptos. But with where it's going, I think if you want to throw it, well, let me start with Duquan first. Safety, cryptos, fraud, so on and so forth. What's your take on that?
Now, I think first of all, crypto will have a place in either in investment or payment, but I do not think it's going to scale globally or down to retail until you sort out that trust, the trust and transparency issues, and also the understanding of it, which is part of that whole trust. I think it's still a very complex platform, and I think that is why we're seeing, and I think Warren Buffett, one of Warren Buffett always said, if you don't understand it, don't invest in it. And I think it's still too complex, and you're seeing a lot of fraud that is actually underpinned by lack of transparency and violation of people's trust. And so, for me, personally, for me, I've actually like invested in crypto and used it in the past, but currently, all the problems and all the complications are beginning to make people stay away from them.
Gotcha. Okay, well, we just saw Strike, which uses the Bitcoin Lightning structure, has announced that they're now allowing transfers to go from the US to Vietnam, and there was that gentleman who was testifying to it. So is that the next step for payments to be able to transfer using crypto networks and so on?
I think we still have many payment options today that haven't, and I'm going to speak from an African perspective, that haven't fully been leveraged yet. Even like card payments. Like in Nigeria, payments today are instant. So like the infrastructure is available there. You even have Visa card to card transactions. So that is just one more option that people can use. How it scales is going to depend on regulation, cross-border agreements between different countries. For example, how possible is that for people to receive money in Nigeria? It's actually quite difficult cross-border as well. So it will depend on regulation, new regulation, legislation, and enhancement of infrastructure. So it's another payment option, but there's still many more that we still haven't leveraged of, especially in the African continent.
All right. So what are you guys over at Stripe working on as far as this year is concerned? The next, what's the future for you at the company?
At Sparkle.
Sparkle. Did I say Strike? I'm sorry. I said Strike. They both begin with an S. Sparkle. I apologize. Sparkle. Yes.
No, Sparkle. I think this year is leveraging on on the technology that are available that are coming up. And the two there are three areas we're working on. The first one is going to be making it easy for small businesses to do business and lending to them. The second one is leveraging on the new regulations and opportunities from that have come out, open banking, that's for sure, unlocking information to make better decisions, to lend to people, to customers, and also for customers to make better decisions about what they do. And even things like tokenization that has been the guidelines have been released is going to be great for cashless and cardless transactions, making it easier and cheaper for people to make payments and receive payments. So those are the things that we're working on this year, because we think that the more you can make it easier for people to do things and make payments, the easier for commerce in Nigeria, and that's what we actually need to try to do.
Well, what do you make of Apple looking to spend $1 billion a year to get into movies? Amazon already owns MGM Studios. Amazon has Prime Video. Big tech making this move into cinema. They're already everywhere else. They're in sports. I think Amazon, you can watch sports broadcasts on Twitter, on Amazon. This foray into movies, is it going to disrupt anything, or is it all positive?
I think it's all positive. I know at Sparkle, we have a tagline saying, "What do you want to do today?" And how can we help you do it? Because we actually don't know where banking is going to go to, but we're trying to build a platform that is going to be there for our customers, for our ecosystem. And I think this is part of Apple's big plan of continue to grow their ecosystem, right? So when you think that they only have like 20 to 40, I think about 20 to 20 million people who are subscribed to their streaming Apple Plus platform now, and then Netflix has 200 million. So, for them, it's, better content, more exclusive content will get more people into that streaming platform who will now be part of that, their whole ecosystem, who can now they can now actually, entice to get their Apple phones or use their Apple store. So I think it's all part of that, how do we continue to ensure that, our ecosystem can do for everybody, do everything for what people want to do.
I want to we're still talking tech. I want to take, I have to milk this opportunity to be talking to you today. I want to ask you about the elections, right? You've seen everything that's going on. Nigeria embraced technology in her elections, although there were some hiccups. Can it only get better from here as far as voting, for us here?
I think the good thing about it is that we've opened Pandora's box and we can't go back again. And so, I'm looking forward to the next election where, like in 3 years' time, technology is going to be better, devices are going to be cheaper, and, things are going to be more transparent. And even with open banking as well, where, you're going to see people who are going to be given permission to share their data. So, this is the first step of a long journey, but it's going to be a very exciting journey. And the next election, I think, is going to be more open, more fiercely contested, and more transparent than this one was.
All right, can only get better from here. Positive notes to end our interview. Thank you so much, Uzoma Dozie, CEO of Sparkle, for talking to us today. Really appreciate your time.